back, everybody. Today I have an eBay purchase. It's a Super Nintendo that was tested but not working. Power's on, comes with 2 games. I got it all in, shipped and taxed for about $60. So not too bad of a deal, especially if I can get it working. Gonna resell it to make a little bit back. My goal usually isn't to resell, but I might be going to Southeast Game Exchange Conference, and I would like to have the extra funds for that. So that's what I have this purchase for. Let's see if we can get this thing going. All right, here's the box, shipped to. It's obviously not from Walmart, but just a reused box. And my cleaning supplies, Taco Tuesday supplies, which I will not need tonight. And let's get this thing open, see what it looks like. Alright, so here are the 2 games. We got Donkey Kong Country, rough label, and Super Mario World again. Actually, the label's not too bad. Actually, looks pretty good. Alright, so we have original power adapter. It is actually a Nintendo branded RCA cable, surprisingly. And looks like an original controller. Alright. Oh, cool. For some reason in the picture, I thought it was showing that this was broke, but it is not, so that's good. Got some good clicks there. Good reflexes there. All good. Let's look at these ports. Quick. As much as we can see, not too dirty. I do like to look at those. Actually doesn't look too horrible. So first, let's give it a test to see if it works. Could be a couple situations why it's powering on but not showing picture. Let's see what it got. First, see this bundle of wires behind this little entertainment center? Try not to judge me too much. It's on the list to deal with, but I just not quite sure how I want to deal with it yet. So on to the Super Nintendo. Alright, got it plugged in, got it hooked up just to the side. We're gonna see how it's gonna work. A couple things that I think was probably gonna be wrong with it from the description. What is this thing making noise? Is it could be a dirty games. They didn't look too horrible. Could be definitely dirty pins where I need to clean that out. That is most likely the cause and what I'm kind of banking on. But it also could be this RCA cable that is bad. So I have that as an alternative just in case it doesn't work. But well, before I ramble more, let's go ahead and try this out. So it does power on. Let's see. One indicator. Okay, so it does do a click. That's probably showing me that there's something with the games, but I could be wrong. This eject button did feel a little gunky, and it definitely felt gunky trying to put the game in. Alright, so Donkey Kong works. That's interesting. This might be a shorter video than I thought. Check sound. Yeah. Okay. So it does work. Let's try that again. There is a little bit of a delay popping this thing up. Okay. Yeah, flawless. Huh. Interesting. Let's try Mario one more time. I might want to open it up just to kind of see why this is sticking like it is. Oh, all right. So I might have just got a Super Nintendo with both of these things shipped to me for $60, which is definitely not a bad deal because it seems to be working. Let's get this controller hooked up and play through a little bit. I have a general rule, and I'm about to break it, and that is if it's not broken, don't try to fix it or make it better. Problem is, if I'm going to resell this, I want that eject button working better than that, and I want to see why it's not ejecting fully, which might need some cleaning, but I'm still going to open all these up and clean them out really well. These Super Nintendos were probably the hardest of the consoles to break. I'm always impressed by them. These are also fairly simple to take apart. I think there's only like 6 bolts on the bottom that basically separates the top shell from the bottom shell. So let's get these off. I'm definitely not a pro, as you can see, and I've taken these apart a few times. I actually use egg cartons for the screws, and I like this because I can even take a permanent marker and kind of write where they came from with this. And usually I kind of start here and go that way, so when I start putting it back together, I can do the reverse. So here's my 6 housing screws. Let's put it in that corner. This is where, if I have to take any more screws off, that's where I'll put them. I'll be the first to tell you I don't have the best lighting for this. I'm definitely not a professional YouTuber with the great lights, but you can see this, it isn't the most springy, but it's not horrible. So I want to take it apart just to see if there's some gunk in it anywhere we can clean it. Plus I want to take it off and definitely clean that eject button off a lot. Take those off. We'll probably have a spring fly. There it goes. Here's our spring. Nothing too crazy. And here's our eject button. I didn't necessarily see anything crazy, but also this is fairly clean, even with that bug shell. There's a little bit of a spider web there I cleaned out. Here in Florida though, they will be covered in this kind of like just wear or corrosion. It's not really corrosion, but whatever that is. All of these stainless pieces would have that on it, and it would be much worse, especially if it were housed outside. What I'm also going to do is take this out, this pin set, and just scrub it off really, really well, just to make sure that it is clean. I'm not necessarily worried about this ribbon. Those make me kind of nervous. I'm not doing a full clean, so I'm just gonna hold that up out of the way. There. I'm gonna use my ejection port, make it as a brace, just so I can pull this out. This is all I'm getting to. But the heat shield does have little prongs that stick into this pin set, so I needed to get that out of the way first. So it looks pretty clean. It's not too bad. I've definitely seen much worse. but I will go over it with a toothbrush and some alcohol. As well as going over this with a toothbrush and alcohol, just to knock out any possible corrosion or hair and dust that's gotten trapped there over the years. One other note with these pin sets, I cleaned out my boss's Super Nintendo like last year, had it running here. I gave it back to him and he said it wasn't working again. So I brought it back, took it all apart, and there's actually just enough corrosion on the inside of this to stop the connection. So once I got that corrosion cleaned out, it worked like a charm and has been working to this day. So really look for any little specks of corrosion you can on these and try to get them out. Ejection button looks good. Cleaned everything out, got it together. Also took the chance to clean this off and get all the dust off of it. Washed it down pretty good, let it dry out. So let's get this thing back together. All right, so like I said, this label is very good. Best way to clean this out is just to open it up, check it out. I like to also make sure they're authentic. Most of these are. And just to get the pins really good with the eraser and alcohol and the toothbrush. Okay. A little dirty, not too horrible. That save battery was good. It's a little bit ugly, but it's still saving. Nothing looks too horrible there. Lied. Look at that. Let me take a closer look at this. So I'm gonna take alcohol and a toothbrush and just see what I can clean up with that. That takes off more than you would think. Looks like this probably had some water damage or humidity issues at some point. Let's try to get it cleaned up. You can see there is a little bit of like rust corrosion on some of this stuff, and I have up near the battery terminal, that top, we'll say that's a capacitor, has some rust on it. So I'm gonna refloat, I think that's the terminology, some of those solder areas, and I'm gonna go ahead and put a new battery in this since it looks ugly and I have a bunch of extras. I'm gonna save you through that. I'm not a professional at any of this. I've learned from doing it. So soldering doesn't look that great. And I kind of just wing this as I go. So don't be too harsh on me. All right, here's a close up of the Donkey Kong cart. Just got the battery and all the soldering joints I wanted to mess with done in Super Mario. Here's the old battery. Yeah, definitely kind of nice to get the old nasty one, even though it was saving in there. It's nice to get that thing out of there. So this chip is actually huge. I watched a documentary, I think it's Rare, makes these, and how they put all the 3D graphics stuff in here. Pretty interesting, but this chip looks much, much better. So not gonna do anything other than just go over the pins with eraser and then the toothbrush with alcohol and clean it up, and that's about it. Back at Super Nintendo, yes, my workspace is on the floor. Donkey Kong cleaned out. Let's try this ejection button. much better. Just, I guess it just needs cleaned out and whatnot. Good to go. All right, so let's see if this works. That's right. Let's test it out. I realized the whole time I've been testing this, I've been using my aftermarket RCA cables and not the ones that came with it. So with the Nintendo branded one that came with it, I just hooked it up. As you can see, we get a whole lot of nada. And I think I know why that is. This will just make me feel better for selling. You can see how dirty these are. Look at the end of these RCA cables. They are pretty filthy. So what I'm gonna do, just for sanity's sake, so I know I'm not selling somebody something busted, it's been working great for me with my new RCA cables. I'm gonna clean these up just to see if it works, and I'm still gonna sell it with the new RCA cables and not these, even if it does work, just to be sure. But just like I said, for my curiosity, I wanna solve this. I got them just a little bit shinier, just with alcohol and toothbrush. Also took it to the end of this. Hard to see in there, but there's a few connections in there. Let's hook it up, see if it works. All right, got the Nintendo cable that came with it. Cleaned off and hooked up, and looks like they work now. All right. There's a moral to the story. Let's talk about this. All right, my friends, here's the moral of the story. Be careful to keep your consoles and games clean, especially these cartridge games. Before you use them, if you haven't used them in a long time, just run a dry Q-tip in them, just keep the dust off of it, keep the dust out of the pins. That way, make sure that you don't mistakenly think that something needs work when it just needs cleaned out really good. So with that said, I'm happy to have this cleaned out, happy to be able to add a little bit to my cash fund if we end up going to the Southeast Game Exchange Convention, whatever it's called, in July. So super excited about that. Hopefully pick up some of those Pokemon games that I've been trying to find that are a little bit out of my reach and definitely out of my price range. So looking forward to that. Again, always appreciate all you subscribing, liking the videos, and staying with me. Let me know what you want for the future, and see you guys next video.